After graduating with my master's degree, I landed an accounting job at a third-tier hospital. I rented an old house near the hospital, a walk-up building with no elevator. On moving day, I lugged my duffel bag, panting, up to the third floor. The door to the opposite apartment opened, and a tall, refined man stepped out. In that instant, my heart leaped to 180 beats per minute. Perhaps my gaze was too obvious, because he turned to look at me. His eyes, clear as autumn water, immediately captivated me. My mind raced, conjuring 100 ways to greet this godlike man who had instantly stolen my heart. Before I could even speak, he flashed a smile. I froze, my body rooted to the spot, watching his retreating figure until my roommate, Chloe, called out, "Hey, what are you doing standing outside? Come in." I entered the apartment, dropped my bag, and rushed to the bathroom. In the mirror, my head was slick with sweat, my bangs plastered to my forehead, and the dark circles under my eyes were bigger than my actual eyes. Today, I'd only put on sunscreen, my face as bare as could be. Well, there went my first impression on my neighbor, completely ruined. But I wasn't giving up. Half an hour later, I managed to dig up my neighbor's personal file from Chloe. His name was Dr. Ethan Reed, male, 29 years old, unmarried, and currently without a girlfriend. After completing an 8-year PhD program, he stayed on at our hospital's orthopedic trauma department, a rising star with a bright future. His father was an ENT professor, and his mother was the head of pediatrics. He lived alone in the apartment opposite mine. At the hospital, he had an excellent reputation. Patients and colleagues alike adored him. A handsome man with such good prospects, yet no girlfriend. Only two possibilities. Either he didn't like women or his standards were impossibly high. Plucking a cold flower like him wouldn't be easy. But I, a single mother for 25 years, had fallen for a man at first sight for the very first time. How could I give up so easily? The story you're listening to is titled A Love Story, broadcast on the Mr. Bean YouTube channel. That evening I googled how to pursue a man, filling 2 pages of my notebook with notes. On my first day of work, I went to the staff canteen for lunch with my colleagues. I habitually fiddled with my ID card, slipping my index finger through the circular hole. Carelessly, the card flew out of my hand. I rushed to retrieve it, only to find it resting peacefully in someone's seaweed and egg soup. The owner of the soup was wiping his handsome face. At that moment, I wished the ground would swallow me whole. My ID card had my name, employee number, and even my photo. There was no escape. I had only one option. "Excuse me, Dr. Reed, I didn't mean to." He used his thumb and forefinger to pluck the card from his bowl, reading the name on it. "Lily Evans." I nodded, softly replying, "Yes, I'm Lily Evans." I hoped he wouldn't remember I was the new neighbor. Dr. Reed wiped the soup off the card and handed it back to me. He smiled and said, "You should go eat quickly. Be more careful next time." I clutched the card and fled from his sight. It was strange. Dr. Reed wasn't angry at all. But he surely couldn't eat that soup anymore. Should I buy him another bowl to salvage some of my second impression? I bought the soup and returned, but Dr. Reed was already gone. What to do with this bowl of soup? No point in wasting food. I'd just drink it myself. Lately, I'd been diligently practicing cooking, following online recipes. Once I mastered it, I would definitely use my homemade dishes to conquer Dr. Reed's stomach, and then move on to capture his heart. That was the plan, but reality always found a way to interfere. My boss assigned me to help a senior colleague inventory the hospital's fixed assets. Early in the morning, I put on my white lab coat and followed my senior to the outpatient department. She gave me quick instructions, handed me the record sheet and stickers, and then left for an ultrasound. I went alone to the orthopedic trauma department, sticking labels in each room. The hallway was full of patients and their families waiting for appointments. The doctors were on rounds, so the rooms were empty, making my work convenient. I hummed a tune as I stuck labels on printers and monitors. One more sticker for the CPU. The CPU was under the table, so I had to squat down to check the serial number. Right, the number was correct. I continued sticking the label and finished my song. "Excuse me, what are you doing?" a voice echoed in the consultation room. I immediately clamped my mouth shut. "Oh no, I just sung. Give me a jar of pickled mustard greens to drown my sorrows." Had someone heard me? I quickly stood up, accidentally hitting my head on the table. Ouch! I stood straight, rubbing my head, and looked towards the person who had spoken. After a moment, I burst into tears. Crying, I explained, "Dr. Reed, I'm sticking asset labels on the CPU. When did you come in? I didn't hear the door open." He handed me a tissue and said, "When you were singing the pickled greens song." I cried even harder. Why? Why do I ruin my image every time I meet my dream man? Dr. Reed looked flustered seeing me cry. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have spoken, making you hit your head. It's a good thing he only asked one question. Otherwise I would have kept singing." "You're crying from pain. Let me check." "I'm not crying from pain, I'm crying because I'm so stupid. Why did I sing that song?" Dr. Reed stepped closer. The fresh scent of laundry detergent wafted from him. His fingers lightly touched my hair. My heart started racing again. "I'll go get an ice pack for you." He left, leaving me alone in the consultation room. I wiped my tears, adjusted my hair, and considered whether I should run away. No, it had come to this. I'd stay and wait for my dream man to return. Maybe I could salvage some of my image. Less than a minute later, Dr. Reed returned. He placed the ice pack on my head, instructing me to see a doctor immediately if I felt dizzy or nauseous. I reached out to take the ice pack, my hand brushing against the back of his hand. It was cool. Afraid he'd misunderstand that I was taking advantage, I quickly withdrew my hand. He placed the ice pack in my hand. Just then, a patient walked in and asked, "Doctor, can I be seen now?" Dr. Reed nodded, smiling. "Please wait a moment, I'll call your name shortly." The door closed. Had to leave too. Turning around, I accidentally bumped into the wooden chair where patient sat. Luckily, Dr. Reed caught me. I didn't dare look at him, bowing my head and muttering "thank you" before fleeing that unlucky room. Back in the office, I iced my head and then my knee. Recalling my 3 accidental encounters with Dr. Reed, I seemed to have shown no advantages at all, only embarrassing situations. Oh my God, was this fate telling me to give up? That night, I called my best friend and complained, "Tell me, I rarely fall for someone, but why do I always embarrass myself? Tell me." In his eyes, am I an idiot now? My friend comforted me. "Don't overthink it. People forget easily. Just avoid him for a while. If he doesn't see you, he'll naturally forget those embarrassing moments. Once he's almost forgotten, you can reappear and let him see your good qualities." Can I really salvage my image in this situation? Trust me, time fixes everything. 3 days later, I was assigned to inventory laparoscopic equipment in the operating room. I changed into scrubs, put on a cap and surgical mask, and donned a pair of oversized plastic clogs. Finally, I started working seriously. After finishing the inventory, I walked down a long hallway and saw a door marked "Changing Room." Without hesitation, I pushed the door open. Although there were a few worn surgical gowns hanging by the door, I immediately started changing. I took off my top and was about to take off my pants when someone emerged from behind a cabinet. Our eyes met and we both froze. Who was I? Where was this? Why was I meeting him here? No time for sadness. The urgent question was, should I continue taking off my pants? Dr. Reed looked at me, his eyes full of surprise. "What are you doing in here?" I didn't want to lie, so I blushed and explained. I went into the wrong changing room. "Do you believe me?" He chuckled softly. "I believe you." That answer made me both happy and worried. Happy because he didn't think I was a pervert trying to spy on handsome men. Worried because he was even more certain I was an idiot who couldn't even read the sign on the door. I regretted it a little. I'd rather be misunderstood as a pervert than a laughingstock. You change quickly. I'll stand guard outside for you." He proactively thought of a way to help me. He went out, and I quickly took off my pants and threw them into the dirty laundry basket. I opened the door. Dr. Reed was still guarding for me. I bowed my head, whispered "thank you," and ran like the wind from that chaotic place. My plastic clogs almost made me trip. I told this story to my best friend, and she told me to find a new target. I thought she had a point, but I still didn't want to give up. Who said time fixes everything? It's because time had never met me. After the National Day holiday, the hospital held a sports festival. The leadership assigned me to participate in the leg tying race. The leg tying race was an extended version of the three-legged race, with 10 people tied together at 11 legs. During the fourth practice, my colleague on the left walked fast, while the one on the right walked slowly. I was caught between them, stumbled, and fell hard, twisting my ankle. The person in charge immediately stopped the practice. Everyone cheered and dispersed to go home, leaving only me injured. The world truly knew how to play tricks. The next day I limped to work. My department head heard about it and told my senior to take me to the clinic for an X-ray. After the X-ray, my senior took me to the orthopedic trauma department. Before entering the doctor's room, I secretly prayed, "Please don't let me meet Dr. Reed." But as soon as I stepped in, I saw his back. Okay, now I prayed he wouldn't turn around. Second later, he turned around and saw me. I forced a smile at his handsome face. He also smiled at me. My senior seemed close to him. "Ethan, could you please take a look at this young lady? She accidentally twisted her ankle last night." Dr. Reed hung the X-ray on the light box, not looking at me, only asking, "How did you twist your ankle?" "I was practicing the leg tying race last night, tripped, and twisted it." "Don't worry, your bone is fine. Don't do any strenuous activities for a while. Rest well, and you'll recover." My senior completed her task, smiling and thanking him. I also mumbled, "Thank you, Dr. Reed." I limped out of the consultation room, feeling as if eyes were watching me from behind. My face started to burn. Falling while walking was a typical sign of an underdeveloped cerebellum. I remembered my best friend's advice again. At this point, should I give up on Dr. Reed? But I really didn't want to let go. At the finance department's year-end party, I was called up to answer questions. I answered correctly, and the prize was 2 face towels. My senior joked, "Lily, you have your dowry now. You can get married." I wish. I just worry Dr. Reed won't agree. Thinking of Dr. Reed, the taste of the braised pork in my mouth suddenly disappeared. It had been a long time since I'd seen him. Our work schedules never overlapped, and I didn't see him at lunch either. Perhaps he didn't want to see me. I raised my glass and drained the red wine. "Lily, drink slowly. You've had 3 glasses already," my senior reminded me. I suddenly came to my senses. What was I doing? Drowning my sorrows in alcohol. I couldn't be so foolish. It was just heartbreak. Now I'd damage my liver and stomach too. That would be a huge loss. I put down my glass and focused on eating. After the party, I went to the restroom to wash my face. As I turned the corner, I accidentally bumped into someone. Before I could even look, I apologized and was about to walk away. The person called my name. "Lily Evans." I turned around. It was Dr. Reed. My mind suddenly cleared. "You're drinking?" he asked, frowning. "Oh no, he looks handsome even when he frowns." I stammered. "Just a little red wine." Dr. Reed sighed. "Come on, I'll take you home." I followed him to the parking lot. He opened the passenger door and I quickly got in. He got in the car and saw me fumbling with a seatbelt for ages. He reached over, pulled the belt from my hand, and leaned in to help me buckle it. I actually did that on purpose. My alcohol tolerance wasn't bad, but I blushed easily. Just 1 glass of wine, and my cheeks were already flushed like the evening sky. He started the car and pressed play on the music. Debussy's Clair de Lune filled the air. I closed my eyes and leaned back in the seat, occasionally peeking at his profile. Wow, Dr. Reed's profile was so beautiful. Suddenly, he turned to look at me. I immediately squeezed my eyes shut, pretending to be drunk. When we arrived, I feigned exhaustion, leaning against him. Why didn't I lean fully? Because I was afraid he'd dislike me, thinking I was a loose woman. The scent on him was light, a fresh lemon scent that I loved. Should I hug his arm? No, I should still maintain my dignity. Going up the stairs, he supported my arm. I continued to half lie, half lean on him. I secretly glanced at his face. There was no hint of displeasure, so I felt relieved. At my door, I started knocking. I knocked and knocked, but no one answered. Only then did I rummage through my bag for my keys. I searched and searched, turning my bag inside out, but couldn't find them. I swear I didn't intentionally hide the keys. They were really lost. I squatted down on the ground, hugging my bag, wondering what to do. Should I go to Dr. Reed's place for a while? But a man and a woman in the same room might not be appropriate. What if something inappropriate happened? A cold wind blew through the hallway. Achoo! I sneezed loudly. Dr. Reed opened his door, pulled me up from my squatting position, and whispered in my ear, "Lily, come to my place for a bit. You'll catch a cold sitting on the ground like this." What? Dr. Reed actually invited me to his place. My heart exploded like firecrackers, crackling and bursting. As soon as I stepped inside, the warmth enveloped my face. It was so comfortable. He helped me to the sofa. I took the opportunity to lie down. I still hadn't forgotten I was pretending to be drunk. He took off my outer jacket. While I was still wondering if he would make another move, he left. My heart pounded, my mind a tangled mess. What would he do to me? If he did, should I agree or refuse? I rolled over. Ouch! Fell to the floor. Luckily, there was a rug, so it didn't hurt much. Hearing the sound, Dr. Reed rushed over. I decided to lie still on the rug and play dead. I heard him put down a glass of water. Then a warm breath brushed against my face. He helped me up to a sitting position. The next second, he lifted me up in a princess carry. My first princess carry in my life was from Dr. Reed. I was so startled that I immediately opened my eyes. Eyes met. I just wanted to melt into thin air. Afraid he'd discover I was faking drunkenness, I wrapped my arms around his neck, tilted my head, and lightly touched his lips with mine. I looked deep into his eyes and whispered, "Dr. Reed, I like you." After performing that series of divine actions, I began to regret it. "Lily, are you crazy? Do you know what you're doing? You're playing with fire." Now I only have one option: gamble. Gamble that Dr. Reed isn't a hypocritical prude. Otherwise, he'll devour me until there's nothing left but bones. I closed my eyes again and continued to play dead. I thought I heard him chuckle softly. In my head, I started to concoct all sorts of scenarios, my heart a tangled mess. Yet, he was calm enough to call my roommate. 10 minutes later, she came to pick me up. As soon as I got back to my room, I immediately called my best friend to pour out my heart. "Tell me, why didn't Dr. Reed do anything? Am I that unattractive? You're such an idiot. It was such a good opportunity. Why didn't you turn raw rice into cooked rice?" No, I have my limits. Proactively kissing him was my last boundary. All right, you have your limits. But tell me, is Dr. Reed perhaps frigid? Even if you're not a great beauty, you're a pretty and cute wildflower from Jongnan. Why didn't he feel anything? Besides, maybe I'm not his type. Lying in bed, I still clearly remembered every moment that had just happened. My first kiss, in a moment of impulse, given to Dr. Reed right at the door of the opposite apartment. I realized that whenever I stood in front of Dr. Reed, my IQ immediately plummeted. Was this the legendary love that made people lose their minds? I buried my face in the soft pillow, wishing I could turn into an ostrich and bury my head in the sand forever. How could I face Dr. Reed again? The next day, I sent a message to Dr. Reed. I'd known his phone number for a long time through my roommate, but I'd never sent him anything. "Dr. Reed, I'm Lily Evans. I drank a bit too much last night. Thank you for taking care of me. I'm sorry for bothering you. A moment later he replied, It's okay. Do you remember what happened last night? I immediately texted back, I don't remember anything at all. Really, I don't remember. If I did anything disrespectful, please forgive me. He didn't reply again. I only wished I could erase all his memories of last night. After the Lunar New Year holiday, I returned to work. I still hadn't figured out how to face Dr. Reed. Knock, knock, knock. Had my roommate forgotten her key? Opened the door. Dr. Reed stood at the door, holding a fish tank, smiling at me. Froze. I have to go on a business trip tomorrow for about a week. Would you mind helping me take care of these fish for a few days? Of course. More than anything. Thank heavens, I finally had a chance to salvage my image. Flowers bloomed in my heart, but on the outside, I maintained a demure demeanor. Yes, I've raised goldfish before. You can rest assured. It wasn't a lie. I really did raise goldfish in college. It's just that how they died wasn't convenient to mention. I took the fish tank. 2 goldfish inside swam happily, completely unaware that their tiny lives were now in the hands of the Grim Reaper. This is fish food. Give them 2 pellets every day. Okay. I closed the door and placed the fish tank on my desk like a treasure. From now on, I would definitely take good care of them, making them plump and healthy. Whether my image in Dr. Reed's heart could be saved depended entirely on these little guys. I took photos of the fish every day and sent them to Dr. Reed until the evening before he returned. My best friend suddenly came over. Her grandmother was critically ill, and she had to rush back to her hometown that night. She didn't have time to send her emperor, meaning her cat, to a pet hotel, so she asked me to take care of him for a few days. The emperor was very familiar with me. As soon as he was released from his backpack, he roamed freely. My friend left in a hurry. I picked up the cat carrier and the food bag and went into the room. Just then, I saw the emperor eating something in my room. What could there be to eat in my room? Only. I threw the cat carrier, ran 2 steps to the empty fish tank. My life not only failed to save my image, but this time, I also lost all his remaining goodwill. My vision went black. It felt like the sky was falling. The next day, I went to the pet store and bought 2 goldfish identical to Dr. Reed's. Then I stood trembling at his door, holding the fish tank, not daring to knock. After a while, gathering my courage, I finally raised my hand and knocked 3 times. The door opened. Dr. Reed, like a cool moonlight, appeared before me. Perhaps from now on, I wouldn't see that smile directed at me anymore. Before he could speak, I apologized first. I'm so sorry, Dr. Reed. I didn't take good care of the fish. My friend's cat ate them. I watched the smile on his face slowly disappear and quickly continued. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I bought 2 other goldfish to compensate you. If you still can't forgive me, I'll offer myself as compensation, okay? Dr. Reed froze. I was sure he was furious. He had trusted me with his precious fish, and I let them be eaten by a cat. How do you plan to offer yourself as compensation? I seriously replied. I can do anything to make amends. Laundry, cooking, cleaning, anything. Am I seeing things? Why? Why is Dr. Reed smiling? No need. 2 fish are enough compensation. Not enough. I have to find a way to make up for this mistake. Very quickly, an opportunity arose. Dr. Reed had a fever and was recovering at home. Every day, I personally cooked nutritious meals and delivered them to his door on time. Afraid of infecting me, he would just knock on the door and leave the food box outside his apartment. He would wash the box clean and then knock on my door, leaving it outside my apartment. We never met face to face. I often stuck sticky notes on the food box, writing a few messages. Was today's meal to your liking? I learned this dish on Douyin. What do you think? He would return the box sparkling clean, as if he didn't want me to see any leftovers. He also replied on sticky notes. Today's was very delicious. The new dish was great. You have a talent for cooking. You're overthinking it, I really ate it all. One day I drew a cute smiley face. He replied, "It looks like you." Although we weren't officially dating, I felt like I was in love. This time finally no mistakes occurred. Thanks to my careful nursing, Dr. Reed recovered in 3 days. I also felt less guilty, and my feelings for him deepened day by day. But I knew it wasn't the right time to confess. Spring arrived, and my colleagues invited me to a bachelorette party for a wedding. On the wedding day, I was at the bride's house, waiting for the groom to pick her up. The first door was quickly breached by the envelope attack. I saw the groom today and also the best man. It was the first time I'd seen Dr. Reed in a suit. The suit perfectly showcased his well-proportioned physique. He looked like a model straight out of a magazine. In a lab coat, he was refined. In a suit, he was cool and handsome. What about without clothes? I wondered if I'd ever be lucky enough to see that in this lifetime. The bridesmaids began to announce the rules of the game. I quickly reined in my thoughts. There are 12 cucumber sandwiches here. Everyone chooses one and eats it all in one go. No spitting it out. Spitting it out means you lose. Of course, it's not as simple as eating ordinary cucumbers. Only 2 don't have mustard. The other 10 are filled with nose-burning mustard. The groom led by example, choosing first. As soon as he bit into it, tears streamed down his face. His expression contorted. I couldn't let Dr. Reed suffer like that, but I didn't have my phone, nor could I run over and tell him. I anxiously looked at him. "Look at me quickly. Quickly." Dr. Reed actually turned to look at me. I quickly gestured with my hand, afraid he wouldn't understand. I also mouthed, "The third one, the second one, no mustard." He nodded slightly at me. When it was his turn, he indeed picked the one without mustard. I breathed a sigh of relief when the groom suddenly shouted, "Wait!" The groom walked up to me and smiled, asking, "Excuse me, what is your relationship with Ethan Reed?" I tried to remain calm and replied, "We have no relationship." "Then why did you help him cheat?" I was trying to come up with a reason when Dr. Reed stepped forward, shielding me from the groom's intense gaze. He calmly asked, "What do you want?" The groom picked up a red balloon from the ground and said, "I have a good idea. You two pop this balloon together, and we'll let you off the hook." Dr. Reed calmly took the balloon and turned to me asking, "According to the groom's words, okay?" I blushed and nodded. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Dr. Reed placed the balloon between us. I raised my hands and hugged the balloon from both sides, then pressed my stomach against it. My chest also followed suit, thrusting forward. Today I was wearing a pink strapless dress. Dr. Reed was half a head taller than me. Everything was within his sight. Heaven knows I really didn't mean to. The balloon was squeezed by us until it was distorted like a flattened donut, yet it still didn't pop. I was both embarrassed and anxious, just wishing this ridiculous game would end quickly. I looked up and saw Dr. Reed's face flushed, a rare sight. He suddenly tilted his head and whispered in my ear, "Excuse me for the offense." Before I could react, a strong pair of hands gripped my waist, pulling me with immense force into his embrace. The balloon finally burst. The sound startled everyone except Dr. Reed. He quickly released his hands, and I felt my body lose its support, an unusual emptiness in my heart. The wedding reception ended, and I hitched a ride home with Dr. Reed. As I got out of the car, my toes ached as if stabbed by knives. I almost collapsed. This was the price I paid for wearing high heels all day to be a pink fairy. Dr. Reed walked closer and asked, "Does your foot hurt a lot?" I nodded. "Do you mind if I carry you? Do you mind if I carry you?" I stared wide-eyed and open-mouthed. "If you don't answer, I'll take that as a no, I don't mind," he said, then turned his back and bent down. I slowly climbed onto his back, wrapping my arms around his neck. Through the sheer fabric of my dress, I could feel the warmth of his palm. He carried me steadily, his hand resting neatly on my thigh. My upper body pressed against his back, and his ears turned bright red. I leaned my head on his shoulder, a few strands of my hair brushing against his neck, which also flushed. All the way home, my heart felt like a little deer leaping incessantly. He carried me all the way to my door. I blushed and said thank you, and he, also blushing, replied, "You're welcome." The moment I closed the door, a bold thought struck me. Could it be that Dr. Reed also liked me a little? I quickly told my best friend, who urged me to strike while the iron was hot, not to miss out at the last minute. The next morning, my boss told me to deliver documents to the head nurse of the orthopedic trauma department. After finishing, I intentionally stopped by the doctor's office to see if Dr. Reed was there. No, he wasn't. He must be on rounds. A little disappointed, I slowly walked out near the ward area. For some reason, I turned my head back. "Ah, Dr. Reed." I was about to call out to him when I saw him pull out a bright red wedding invitation from his lab coat pocket and hand it to a chubby doctor standing next to him. "What the hell?" Froze. I didn't dare act rashly, so I hid behind the door and secretly observed. Dr. Reed even gave an invitation to the head nurse. I told myself maybe he's just handing out invitations for a friend, not his own. Just then, the chubby doctor happened to walk past me. I smiled and asked, "Excuse me, sir, is Dr. Reed really getting married soon?" He nodded and walked away, leaving me rooted to the spot in the cold wind. I couldn't believe it. The man I liked, Dr. Reed, was a philanderer. On one hand, he was about to get married, and on the other, he was playing ambiguous games with me. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes today, I might have become a homewrecker. Shock, anger, sadness, despair. I couldn't even distinguish my emotions anymore. I quietly returned to the office, starting a day of distraction. After work, with red-rimmed eyes, I made a decision. That Friday night, I would fly to the snowy region where I had always wanted to learn to ski but kept procrastinating. Now, no more hesitation. I wanted to do what I liked, live according to my feelings for once. I put on my protective gear and stepped onto the ski slope, a pristine world of only icy white and the brilliant blue of the sky. The cold air filled my lungs, and my mind suddenly became unusually clear. I suddenly remembered a line from Under Heaven, None Can Rival. I am merely a speck of dust in this sorrowful mortal realm. No matter how great the troubles, one deep breath and they are gone. That's right. Take a deep breath and forget that playboy. I was Lily Evans again, carefree and radiant as ever. I improved very quickly. The joy of skiing soothed my sorrow. Before leaving the slope, I wanted to experience the feeling of high-speed downhill skiing. At first I could control it, but a few seconds later the speed surged. I lost control. I tumbled down into the snow, instinctively bracing myself with my hands. My wrist immediately throbbed with pain. I took off my skis and pulled up my sleeve. My left wrist was red and swollen. I quickly scooped up snow and applied it. The cool sensation indeed helped reduce the pain. I thought it was just a sprain, so after lunch I boarded the plane home as planned. Who knew that as soon as I got off the plane, I was in so much pain that I broke out in a cold sweat. I took a taxi straight to the hospital. It was already 6:30 p.m. The emergency room doctor told me to get an X-ray. After it was done, I brought the film back. The doctor looked at it under the light and immediately said, "Your wrist is fractured. I'm not an orthopedic surgeon. Go to the orthopedic trauma department and see the on-call doctor to get it treated." What? I really fractured it? At the orthopedic trauma department, the nurse said. "The doctor is on rounds and will be back shortly." I secretly prayed. "Please, no surgery." A tall man in a familiar white lab coat approached. "The on-call doctor today is him again." I was about to smile, but then I remembered that bright red wedding invitation, and my mouth immediately drooped. Dr. Reed looked slightly surprised to see me. He took the X-ray film and placed it on the light. "A fracture, but it's not too serious. Cast will do. Follow me to the treatment room, and I'll put a cast on you." "Great, no surgery." I was overjoyed, but as soon as I saw his face, my joy vanished. He treated me like this, and I was truly furious. I maintained a cold expression and followed him into the treatment room. While preparing the instruments, he asked, "When did you injure your wrist?" "Around 11:30 a.m. today." "How did you get injured?" "Skiing." "Skiing? Why did you suddenly go skiing?" I glared at him, thinking, if not for you, then for whom? Seeing that I didn't answer, he pushed the instrument cart in front of me, gently took my left hand and smiled, asking, "Does it hurt a lot?" I winced, about to cry out in pain, but then fell silent. This was my last bit of pride. He dipped gauze in warm water and gently wiped around my wrist. The distance was too close, the familiar scent on him, that serious expression. It made my heart pound again. "Lily, control yourself. Don't be captivated by his good looks. Have some dignity." I took a deep breath. Dr. Reed began to put on the cast, skillfully wrapping the bandage layer by layer. My heart felt like someone had thrown a stone into a calm lake, rippling wave after wave. After wrapping, he gently pressed the plaster to shape it, making it fit snugly around my wrist to prevent displacement. The treatment room was now just him and me, so quiet that we could hear each other's breathing. My stomach uncooperatively rumbled. Dr. Reed chuckled and asked, "Haven't eaten yet?" I blushed and softly hummed a yes. He took scissors and cut the plaster at the fingertips, leaving my fingers exposed. "Can I go home now? I'm starving. I need to eat right away." Dr. Reed cleaned up his tools and said, "The cast is on, but it's not completely dry yet. I advise you to wait until it's dry before going home. Otherwise, if it presses on a blood vessel, it could cause necrosis, which would be dangerous." I asked in a panic, "How long will it take to dry completely?" "At least 4 hours." My face darkened. I almost fainted on the spot. Dr. Reed helped me up and led me into the doctor's lounge. He opened a drawer and took out a cup of instant noodles. "This is all we have here. Please bear with it." I couldn't resist the allure of instant noodles and chose to stay. He made the noodles for me and even poured warm water. The nurse came to call him for a task. Before leaving, he told me, "If you're tired, just lie down and rest for a bit." I truly didn't understand how such a gentle person could be a philanderer. Was it true that you could know a person's face but not their heart? The aroma of noodles filled the room. I couldn't resist anymore and began to devour my dinner. After finishing my meal, I was about to call my roommate when I suddenly felt the urge to pee. I put down my phone and went into the restroom in the lounge, closing the door. Strange, why is the button on these jeans so hard to unbutton today? I tried again and again, but it stubbornly refused to open. Time passed second by second. My bladder began to send warning signals. No, I had to go find a nurse for help. As soon as I opened the lounge door, I bumped right into Dr. Reed's chest. He was about to knock and enter. "What's wrong? Are you looking for the nurse?" "She just went to check on the rooms, I don't know which one." "What's the matter? Can I help?" In that moment, I understood what deep despair felt like. 3 seconds later, I made a bold decision. I pulled him into the lounge, looked up and pleaded, "Please help me unbutton my pants." Dr. Reed was slightly stunned but immediately replied, "Okay." I pulled up my shirt a little, revealing the button. He bent down and easily unfastened the metal button that had been tormenting me. Before I could even thank him, I rushed into the restroom. When I came out of the restroom, Dr. Reed had already left. A moment later, there was a knock at the door. He returned, holding a towel. "I just bought this towel for you from the supermarket in the residence area." He went into the restroom. I heard the sound of running water. He opened the towel, bent down, and placed the warm towel on my face. Thump, thump, thump. My heart betrayed me again. I used my hand to wipe my face through the towel and softly asked, "You're about to get married, but you're still so kind to me. Is that appropriate?" He didn't answer but took the towel off my face. "What did you say?" "I'm about to get married. Why don't I know?" He frowned and asked, "Are you pretending?" I straightened up and said honestly, "I saw you giving wedding invitations to the doctors and nurses, and when I asked, they said you were getting married." Dr. Reed looked bewildered for a few seconds, then burst out laughing, a very natural laugh. The one getting married is my cousin, a neurologist. He asked me to help him hand out a few invitations. Huh. Is that how it is? So I misunderstood him, and deeply at that. I immediately lost my composure, my face flushed, and I bowed my head, not daring to look up. Dr. Reed gently stroked my head, his voice soft. So, you've been cold to me because of that misunderstanding. I bowed my head even deeper. If there's a misunderstanding, there should be compensation, right? His hand moved to my chin, gently lifting it. I saw his bright eyes and curved smile. Unable to resist, I leaned in and kissed him. After that light, fleeting kiss, I immediately turned into an ostrich, wanting nothing more than to find a hole and burrow into it. Dr. Reed sat down next to me and turned me to face him directly. Not faking drunkenness this time, huh? What? He knew I was faking drunkenness that day. How did he know? Before I could finish thinking, his lips covered mine. Unlike the fleeting kisses before, this time I felt his lips soft, warm, and intense. His hand gently wrapped around my back, pulling me close to him. I had never experienced this feeling before, like my soul leaving my body, floating as if flying. I was about to suffocate. Finally he stopped. I wanted to find a place to hide even more. Your face is so red, just like when you were faking drunkenness that day. Oh my God, he's still teasing me. I turned my face away, refusing to look at him. You know what? Your expression right now is so cute. I want to kiss you again. Oh my God, is this still the aloof God I knew? I turned back to look at him, just in time for him to seize the opportunity and kiss me again. Luckily, he remembered he was on duty and stopped. I still had so many questions to ask him when the nurse called him for surgery. Before leaving, he tucked a strand of hair behind my ear and whispered, "Are you going home to sleep tonight or staying here?" Uselessly, I chose to stay. He kissed my flushed lips softly again before leaving. I lay on the bed, thinking I was dreaming. Things with Dr. Reed were progressing so fast, weren't they? I yawned and drifted off into a sweet dream. The next morning, I woke up after 7 a.m. As soon as I picked up my phone, I received a message from Dr. Reed. "Are you awake?" I replied, "Good morning." Not long after, the door opened. Dr. Reed walked in, holding a bag. "I bought a toothbrush and toothpaste from the supermarket downstairs. You can use these for now. I'll go write some patient records and come back to help you wash your face." I immediately sprang into action. After I brushed my teeth, he returned and carefully wiped my face with a warm towel. He was afraid of hurting me. "Have you been in surgery all night?" "Yes." I looked at his tired face and suddenly felt a pang of heartache. After wiping my face, he magically pulled out a bottle of baby lotion from his bag. The supermarket only had this kind. "You can use it for now." I stared at him, unable to believe it. He squeezed some lotion onto his hand, dabbed it on my face, and gently spread it. Both our faces were red like ripe peaches. The lounge was suddenly filled with the warmth of spring. After taking care of me, he quickly washed his own face. After handing over his shift, he took off his white lab coat and walked towards me with a radiant smile. I had never felt so fulfilled. We went downstairs together to eat the famous beef noodles downstairs. I just sat still, he took care of everything. After a few bites, I finally couldn't hold back and asked the biggest question in my heart. "Why do you like me?" It wasn't that I lacked confidence, but it felt too strange. Besides cooking, I didn't seem to show any strengths. So what did he like about me? Was it my appearance? Dr. Reed looked at me gently and asked in return, "Do you remember How? How? Sounds familiar. He's your patient who had his left arm amputated due to bone cancer, right?" "Ah, he's that 10-year-old boy. I remember now. Last May, before I graduated, the hospital required a 1-month internship. That's when I met How in the outpatient department. His mother didn't know how to register for automated appointments, so I helped her with the procedure. That afternoon, I went to the hospital's back garden to sunbathe and coincidentally met How again. At that time, his left arm was gone, and his eyes were empty and lifeless, like still water. I walked over and greeted him, telling him about One Piece. From then on, we became friends. If it didn't rain, I would go to the garden with him to watch ants, feed stray cats, play riddles, fold paper airplanes, and tell famous stories of overcoming hardship. Gradually, the light returned to his eyes. When my internship ended, How hadn't been discharged yet. He said that after this round of chemotherapy, his mother would take him back to their hometown. I gave him a green model, hoping he would always be optimistic and strong moving forward. One time you were pushing How for a checkup, and he pointed to a girl who was helping a patient find a room and told you, Reed, that sister is very kind to me and knows a lot of things. I like her very much. You remembered that girl's face. A month later, she became your next-door neighbor. I put down my chopsticks, unable to believe it. So, you've known me for a long time. Dr. Reed held my hand and gently expressed, Actually, I liked you when you were faking drunkenness. As soon as he mentioned faking drunkenness, my face immediately turned red. How did you know I was faking it? You've been a doctor for so many years. You can tell a truly drunk person from a fake one with just one look. After my hand had fully recovered, I moved into his apartment. It was convenient for taking care of him and saved on rent. On moving day, I hugged my pillow and blanket into his room. As I turned around, he also hugged his pillow and blanket and moved into the spare room. I looked at him blankly. Was he planning to sleep separately from me? After putting his things down, he walked up to me and explained, We can't sleep together yet. I'm afraid I won't be able to control myself. I blurted out, But I'm not afraid. He laughed at my remark, gently tapped my nose and said, Sweetheart, some things should wait until they are recognized by the state before we do them. I looked at him as if he were an alien. My best friend always said men couldn't wait, so why was he the opposite? In that moment, a thought flashed through my mind. Could it be that he's not strong? It doesn't matter. Even if you're not strong, I still love you. Only you, my love. Sweetheart, why are you looking at me with such a strange expression? I quickly shifted my gaze, guiltily saying, I feel like you treat me so well. He hugged me close and whispered in my ear, Of course, because I love you. The 1-year anniversary of our meeting was also our wedding day. That night, he pinned me down on the bed. The truth proved I had guessed wrong. He was very strong. I covered my face. Now I have prepared dinner and am waiting for him to come home to eat. Hearing the door open, I stepped out to greet him. He put down his keys, changed his shoes, and hugged me close, gently saying in my ear, Every day, opening the door and seeing the light in you in the house, I feel so happy. I wrapped my arms around his waist, my eyes curved in a smile, and sweetly replied, Me too.